deck profile here for World Chalice. This is basically the updated version from the very first one I did. So if you guys actually remember that, I did take a bit of your advice and different feedback, and I adjusted the deck a bit. So hopefully this will be a better version for you guys, and I think it's definitely a lot better. It is much slower and not as combo oriented. Simply for the case that Nibiru is now a thing, so because of that, you got to be careful of your plays. As a result, I'm definitely slowing down a bit on this particular deck here. Starting off with monsters, we're playing 3 copies of Chosen by the World Chalice. Now this is obviously a major change from last time because we were playing 2 of each of the vanillas for the World Chalice, but I decided to actually just stick to Chosen by the World Chalice. I think I'll explain a bit more as to why I'm playing only Chosen and why I'm choosing to only play him. But yeah, just 3 copies of it. I'll get more to why later on. Moving on, we're playing 3 copies of Mystical Shine Ball. Still one of the key cards of the deck. Obviously, if you play it together with Venus, then you can make the most out of it. But then again, also an amazing card there. The last vanilla of the deck is Gemnite Garnet. This card obviously for the Brilliant Engine. Up to you on what you want to play, but I'm choosing to play Garnet here because, just because really. It's a 1900 beat stick as well on its own, so sometimes you might get unlucky and you might draw into it. So yeah, it's not too bad at all. Now for effect monsters, we are playing 3 copies of World Chalice. Obviously, it's a main staple. I mean, you shouldn't be reducing any of the copies of it. It should be at 3, so really good there. Then we're playing 3 copies of Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. So this is also a very good card, very important card as well that you should be playing at 3. Basically allows to add itself back, and also a Searcher as well. So really amazing card. Then I'm playing 2 copies of World Chalice Guard Dragon. Don't need to play 3, I think that's a bit excessive, but the 2 here definitely does work out quite a bit here. Pretty much able to revive your monsters, and at the same time also go into different link plays as well. And of course, one of the main important cards here is the Agent of Creation Venus, 3 copies of them, mainly for the whole fact that they are kind of consistent. In that sense, you're obviously not going to utilize all 3 of them, but in the case that you might accidentally not draw into it, then obviously you're playing 3 copies in hopes to have that happen. And at the same time, Lee can transmodify into Venus as well, so it's definitely very nice there. And of course, we're playing the 1 copy of Trick Clown. Trick Clown just works well with the Garnet in the Brilliant Engine together, so it allows you to make quite a few different plays here, and since he can revive, then you're able to extend your combos. We're also playing the Rescue Ferret. You only need the 1 because simply before the fact that his effect actually just shuffles himself back into the deck, so he's self-recycling. You shouldn't need any more of that. And of course, we're playing the Synchro Fusionist. Now, this card might be a bit iffy for some people, but since we're playing Chosen by the World Chalice, I think Synchro Fusionist together as well is a pretty appropriate choice. We're also playing the 1 Glow Up Bulb, definitely helping you go into your Synchro plays. Otherwise, it can revive itself to go for further link plays as well. Other important cards we're playing is 2 Exodius, the Forbidden Lord. And we're also playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well. I don't remember if Ash Blossom was in my previous build, but in this particular version I felt that adding in a hand trap would be a lot better. If anything, I was thinking of also incorporating Veiler into this deck as well, simply for the fact that I think with Nibiru out, you really shouldn't focus too much on combo plays with World Chalice, but rather it allows you to have a bit of room now to add in a few hand traps just to disrupt your opponents, and I think that's definitely a very fair thing that you could actually do, and not worry so much about going into your big combos, because you know that you're going to eventually be stopped by your opponent's card Nibiru. That being said, you could still continue on with the plays despite being Nibiru'd, so it's not always too bad there. But that's pretty much it for the monsters. So let me actually explain to you why Chosen is so necessary. The problem with the other World Chalice vanillas is that when you're playing Beckoned or if you're playing Crowned, when you end up searching for these vanillas with Lee's effect, you kind of have this whole, I guess this, I don't know how do you explain it. It's you're just overthinking things, and you're constantly thinking, should I pick Beckon, should I pick Chosen, or should I pick Crowned? And you don't know which one to pick. And because of that, it kind of wastes a lot of brain power. And I know doesn't. It seems kind of ridiculous when you actually think about it. But the thing is this: when you take away just this minor thing where it saves a bit of brain power, you could actually just focus on to going into your proper combos, and you know that you only have the one choice anyway, which is the Chosen in this particular case. And as a result, I decided to just stick to the Chosen. Some people could definitely go and play Beckoned as well, but that being said, that's completely up to you on that case. Definitely not going to be playing Crowned, simply for the fact that it just has the least synergy. The other reason why I'm playing Chosen is because Chosen can also be treated as a tuner monster for pretty much World Chalice Justiceer, because you could actually use your normal World Chalice monsters as a tuner monster. So together with Shine Ball, together with Lee, you could definitely make a lot of plays, and of course the Synchro Fusionist. So I decided to make Chosen as the main focused normal monster for the World Chalice vanillas. Moving on to spells, we're playing the one copy of World Legacy's Heart. I still think it's a really good card to recur your cards from the graveyard, so it's still just a great card to play there. Second effect doesn't come up as much, but even so, it's nice to know that we have that effect there. We're also playing the E-Tele since we're playing 3 copies of Chosen. One of the reasons, again, another one reasons why I'm playing Chosen over Beckoned or Crowned, because we actually have access to E-Tele. Whereas if you play Beckon, you could play Reinforcement of the Army, but overall, I don't think that's actually as great, since this one actually provides you a special summon rather than a search, so not too bad there. Of course, the Brilliant Fusion, because we know that we're actually playing the Brilliant Engine in this. Another card we're playing is 2 copies of Transmodify. I think this is not a card that is, unfamiliar to you guys anymore, because you've obviously seen it in the previous deck profile. So, not much to explain there. That being said, again, we also really hate hand traps, at least being dealt to us, so we're playing 3 copies of Called by the Grave, definitely really amazing. I would not suggest dropping it down at all, definitely should be at 3. And we're playing the 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Actually, very interestingly enough, because of Nibiru, we definitely want to find ways to extend our plays, because if our opponent Nibiru's us, what are we going to do? We're actually kind of screwed there, so we kind of need to continue on. And I figure the best way to continue on is actually play Monster Reborn, World Legacy Succession, World Legacy Guard Dragon, and the 2 new additions I've added in, or rather the 1 new addition I've added in, is the Swing of Memories. So we're playing 2 copies of this. It basically allows us to target a normal monster in our graveyard and special summon it, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. Of course, the second effect is not too bad, but the fact that we could actually just revive our normal monsters, and we have plenty, we have 7 copies here, so overall, it just allows you to extend your plays, and overall this pretty much means we're playing 5 copies of Monster Reborn. Now, why am I not playing more copies of Succession or Guard Dragon? Well, both these cards here are once per turn, so unfortunately we can't make the most of it, whereas Swing of Memories is not once per turn. You could activate multiple of these, so if you manage to actually activate all 5 of these in the same turn, if you manage to, of course, it could definitely extend your plays quite a bit, despite the fact that your opponent might use Nibiru against you. But that is pretty much my answer to Nibiru, and I feel that this will definitely suffice for now. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, we're playing 1 copy of Topologic, we're playing 1 copy of Crusadia, and we're playing 1 copy of Sayuja. So, let's see. Well, Bomber Dragon is still a really great card. I mean, these are our 3 main big Link 4 boss monsters, and I think they definitely suffice for the time being. If you want to replace the Bomber Dragon, you could always play Borrow Sword, you could always play Borrow Load, and you could also play Appaloosa as well. Definitely far better choices than Bomber Dragon. But that being said, those cards are very expensive cards. Keep in mind, Appaloosa is about $80 right now for in Australia, so very expensive. We also have what was it, Boral Sword. Boral Sword is about a $60 card right now, 65 I think. And we have Boral Load. Well, I kind of don't have an excuse for that. I just haven't bought the Rocket Structure deck yet, so I'm still just looking around, seeing if there's any available, because at least the current stores that are nearby me, I'm unable to find them. But yeah, when I get that, I'll put in the Boral Load over the Topologic. Whereas the Avramax is definitely a stay in this deck, and same thing for Yugioh. I do like the fact that now I actually had an interesting comment where Yugioh was not a good card because it relies on chance. The whole drawing random cards, 4 random cards, and then putting 3 back, it's too random. It doesn't matter. I mean, with World Chalice, honestly, any of these monsters that you draw in addition to your current hand, it's good enough. I mean, this whole deck is meant to be spontaneous, and it could work so well. On top of that, you could also have the special summon effect, which allows you to special summon the Rescue Ferret from the hand to further extend your plays. So I do think that Yugioh is still a really good card in this deck, and it should be a mainstay. And yes, while it is a bit random, I do think that with World Chalice, it doesn't really matter. I think the randomness actually does work quite well. And I will be doing test hands for this video to further demonstrate this. For Link 3s, we're playing the Trigate Wizard. Getting the negate, yes, it might seem a bit off for you guys. You guys might not actually want to do that, but that being said, I still do like playing the Trigate Wizard. Still works quite well for me. But if you guys want to play Topologic Trisbania instead, that is definitely a better option, so you guys could always just play that. And of course, we're playing the Ningirsu because he is one of the main key cards for the deck as well. That being, it is a World Chalice monster. But speaking of World Chalice monsters, we are playing the Aurum, one of the main key cards as well, and 1 Ib. We could only really fit 1 copy of each of these anyway. Extra deck space is just getting more and more tight, and you really can't fit in any more than that. And that same thing applies for Imduk. We are playing 2 copies only. I wish I could play 3, but that being said, I think 2 is good enough for now. Sometimes when I'm playing a casual match against friends, I do find myself going into a 3rd one. That's because we don't really play within extra deck limits. But yeah, I mean, in a tournament is definitely a lot more difficult here. And of course, we're playing the Link Spider just because it helps us special summon more normal monsters from our hand to allow us to go in for an Imduk. So definitely quite nice, allowing you to provide more different plays available. For the other cards, we're playing the Nightmare Engine, just Cerberus and Phoenix. You could play Unicorn, which is another card you could actually play to replace the Trigate Wizard if you want. I just don't have access to that card right now. But that is definitely another choice there. But these 2 cards definitely very important because it allows you to help co-link your entire board, or rather you link, and as a result your opponent will definitely struggle to get over it if they don't have the Nibiru. As for Synchro Monsters, we're playing the World Chalice Justiciar, obviously one of the key cards there. And a new addition is the Borreload Savage Dragon. I recently pulled this and definitely very happy about it. But yeah, a very, very good card. If you're able to actually go into it, then you could definitely make the most of your plays there, because with Ib here, she is a tuner, so she could easily just tune with the Chosen, and you could definitely make quite a bit of plays. So and just directly go into your Savage Dragon. Easy link climbing there. And to end things off, we're playing the Seraphonite for our Brilliant Engine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this whole deck. I will be doing a test hand to demonstrate what this deck can actually do, at least with this new configuration. And yeah, it's just a really fun deck. It is definitely not the deck that I would recommend you bring to a locals, or, well, you could actually bring it to a locals. That's perfectly fine, but don't bring this to a regionals or a YCS. Reason why I say that is because the turns are very long. Even though you're actually trying to be as quick as possible, even as well versed as you are with this particular deck, the combos are extremely long, the turns are extremely long, and you could actually end up just wasting so many people's time. You're wasting your own time really in the tournament because you're actually stalling to a certain degree. And I just think that this deck, it just is not appropriate at the current time being. But that being said, I will try to work on a different variation where we'll reduce the number of combos. That way we won't be as vulnerable to Nibiru as much, and it'll also make it more viable for tournament play. But that being said, it's difficult to balance the shortness of these combos, but at the same time the I guess potential boards that you can make with this particular deck. A very interesting option I thought about adding in is actually Archlord Christia, because we are playing a bunch of fairy monsters, and I think with the Exodius that I'm playing here, as well as the Venus and the Mystical Shine Boards, you definitely have a lot of good control over what fairies you actually have in your graveyard, so playing Archlord Christia would definitely be a very good choice in this deck as well. But that being said, that's pretty much it for this deck profile, so I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.